You need the fountain of life. You need the fountain of life. Now, yeah, this is a very spiritual message and also very deep message, people, because this is deeper than a message. Understand that words are spirit, people. Understand that stuff, people. Excuse me. Understand that words are spirit. Understand that I am spiritual. Understand that I'm within the real Jesus. I have a relationship with Jesus. All glory to Jesus and all glory to the true and living God. I'm not here for the perfect speech stuff. I'm not here for any of that. You need the fountain of life, though. And as I'm being led by the Spirit, understand this is dealing with the real Jesus, specifically with this. Yeah, God the Father is in a major effect with this stuff too, of course. Of course, God is God. People understand that God the Father is just truly beyond me, and people, of course, He's the Creator of all things, of all spirits, all this deep stuff. But just focusing on the real Jesus in the midst of this stuff, you need the fountain of life, from the real Jesus. Understand too, Jesus mentioned as well that not only does he give his people eternal life, but understand that you need the fountain of life, meaning that you need the everlasting water. You need the I think he mentions something, like the water that he gives, you will not thirst again, that type of matter, if you like drink from the well of Jesus, he's leading me to say it this way. If you drink from the well of the real Jesus, and this is spiritual, people, you will never thirst again. Meaning, when you receive his Spirit, you bear witness with him, his truth, and you will never thirst again. He already mentions too that those who that thirst and or those who thirst, you won't be you won't thirst again. And those who thirst and hunger after righteousness, you shall be filled. That type of thing, people. I'm being led by the Spirit. I'm not here for the perfect speech stuff. I'm not here for you religious people either. I'm not here for all that stuff. I'm here to be led by the Spirit. And understand that you need the fountain of life. Understand that the pure-hearted animals and the animals that belong to God's kingdom, understand they have the fountain of life. God's elect, we have the fountain of life, and all glory to the real Jesus. Understand that this is really dealing with too eternal life in the real Jesus. This is dealing with the Spirit of God. This is dealing with the eternal well of Jesus, meaning that he's constantly pouring in us on a spiritual level. This is dealing with the Spirit of God. This is dealing with the presence of Jesus. This is dealing with being spiritually fed. That's what this is dealing with, as I'm being led by the real Jesus. See, the real Jesus is pouring into me. See how prophetic this stuff is, people? But see, people, this is deeper than me. Understand that stuff. I keep telling you people this. People, I'm being led by the Spirit. I'm not here for you religious people. You people are already done anyhow. I'm just saying, the real Jesus is leading me to say this stuff, because you get these religious people, and these people, they want to quote scriptures and all this stuff, but they don't want to do the true will of Jesus. They don't want to be led by the Spirit. And see, I just told you that the fountain of life is dealing with the Spirit, people. It's dealing with God's kingdom and being spiritually fed, you know? This has nothing to do with the natural. This has nothing to do with all that. And see, you're not going to be spiritually fed by the real Jesus if you don't thirst and hunger after righteousness. For they shall be filled, those who thirst and hunger after righteousness. In the real Jesus. People understand that this has to be an inner yearning for the truth of Jesus and an inner yearning for the real Jesus. Concerning you, concerning Jesus's will concerning you. Otherwise, you're gonna be spiritually dry and on your way to hell. It's not a game, people. The fountain of life is real, and the real Jesus is the one who truly gives eternal life to his people, you know, and people who God has interest in on a spiritual level. Everybody else, they will never have the fountain of life. They will never be a part of this stuff, people. And those who thirst and hunger after righteousness will be filled with the Spirit of God, the presence of God, the presence of Jesus. You will be filled. You will be spiritually fed. And I already told you as well, God's animals that belong to his kingdom, they're a part of this too. You know, God is intervening with this. He's showing me this too. And God's elect, pure souls, are part of this too. Everybody else, they will never have the fountain of life within them or within the real Jesus. And yeah, you know, these people are on their way to hell. It's not a game. You need the fountain of life. You need to be fed spiritually. And you gotta yearn for this stuff. That's what it is. You gotta thirst and hunger after righteousness, for they shall be filled. And he's talking about being filled with his spirit, his presence, his truth. And understand that everything is not on God or the real Jesus. All of this stuff more or less is on you concerning being like filled with the fountain of life. God's already done his part. It's on you to do yours, to just remain being filled concerning the fountain of life, because otherwise you'll be given over to the enemy if you're not a part of these matters. And I understand that this is dealing with being fed spiritually. This has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with any of that. This has to do with being fed spiritually. And this is dealing with the real Jesus pouring into you, giving you fresh revelation. You just being within the real Jesus. This is dealing with just being a part of the light of heaven, the light of God, the light of the real Jesus. You're not a part of these matters. You don't even have the fountain of life, and the stuff's not within you. And you already know you're a part of hell if you're outside of these matters. Trust me, you are. It's not a game with this stuff, people. And I already mentioned the beings that have the fountain of life. God's elect and God's animals. You know? And everything else that's a part of God's kingdom is already bear witnessing with the fountain of life. That's what it is. The other spiritual beings, the angels, and heaven's participants, they already bear witness with the fountain of life. Understand, too, before I close this out, too, there's waterfalls in heaven, people. This stuff is eternal. This stuff has people, the waterfalls in heaven, trust me, it cannot compare. Like, the waterfalls in heaven, what I'm trying to say is the stuff you see in the earth realm cannot compare to the waterfalls in heaven. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not here for the perfect speech, though. So yeah, with all that being said, you need the fountain of life. You need to be fed spiritually, concerning you being in God's kingdom, and understand that this stuff is a ongoing matter. This is an eternal matter concerning you and God's kingdom and your soul being part of the fountain of life. And see, you got to do your part to keep the stream of water flowing concerning you. Otherwise, you won't be a part of these matters. And see, you will be given over to the enemy if you're outside of this stuff right here. So take this serious. God's elect, I know you bear witness with this. Everybody else, you're done. You're done. You know, you're already in the enemy's hands, and you're already outside of this anyhow. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, and you don't have the Spirit of God, and you don't have a relationship with God, you're done. That's what I'm saying. You're already outside of this, and the devil's coming to collect. So yeah, with all that being said,